Okay, hey, welcome to second panel today at Kino Frosina venue. Thanks for coming. We have a mistake here at the panel name. First thing I need to say, it's not make the logo bigger, it's make login bigger. Login, thanks for inviting us. And welcome. We will talk about graphic design today. We will talk about where graphic design and music industry meet, because as you all know, we are quite well connected, and you cannot imagine having a music concert, festival, having a record without having a visual that follows or that wraps the complete picture. And my name is Darko. I live in Zagreb, and I have like a 20+ years experience working for record labels, venues, festivals, and so on as a graphic designer. And I have 3 guests today, and I would like them to introduce themselves, so please.
Okay, hello, I'm Tina, and for the first time on stage in the role of graphic designer. So, Darko, be gentle with the questions, please.
Okay.
Yeah, I will be representing actually as an in-house graphic designer, MKC Skopje, the Youth Culture Center.
All
so,
right.
hope we'll have like interesting topics to speak about, and we'll have fun.
All right, thanks. We have another guest here. Please introduce yourself.
I'm Jozef from Slovakia, and currently I'm working for Popadić Festival. Yeah, I can share my experiences working there. Like, I started there last year, and before me there was Teresa, and yeah, so I can...
All right, thank you. The third guest is not presented here physically. I mean, he's there in his chair, and he's there on a screen. This is Vedran from Sarajevo. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Vedran. My background is graphic designer, but I'm full-time member of Dubioza Collective, so I can tell probably a bit about working from inside, from the other side of the client designer perspective.
Yeah. All right. We had another guest that was supposed to be here with us. It's Popadić from Belgrade. Unfortunately, he couldn't make it to Skopje, so if he's watching, Vuk, hello. Sorry, hope you'll be here next time. So yeah, first I would like to quote the great Oliver Belopeta from his yesterday's speech, who said, "We are here because we love music." And that's totally true, and it's same thing with us as graphic designers who are part of music industry. I think the fact is that before we started our education, before we started to work as graphic designers, we all shared a love for music, and we didn't finish like our education and then decided to work on music, this graphic design for music. We loved the music, so graphic design was like another extension of that love, right? So we will discuss 3 topics, maybe 4, whatever happens. We'll talk about how to brand a band, what's going on with like having a band, how to develop band graphics, artwork, everything that follows, so you can get like a wider recognition. We will talk with Tina about branding a venue, working on like presentation materials, posters. We will speak with Jozef about Popadić Festival, and it's actually a great opportunity because he's like a new member of Popadić. This is, I think, his 2nd year working for Popadić. First, and he's preparing visuals for the upcoming edition of festival in 2003. So we'll see like what's going on and what's important nowadays to spread the festival message and to gather the audience. But first, as you know, in history, there was always a question, what was first, chicken or egg? People were wondering. And in music, we all know that the bands were there first. The caveman was the first, and then he needed a small stage, and then many cavemans needed a bigger stage or festivals. So first we will speak with Vedran about the things that he is doing for Dubioza Collective for the last 20 years. And I wanted to talk with him for more like than 5 years about this, because I think Dubioza Collective is a brilliant example of really like greatly designed band. I'll not use term brand, but everything about the Dubioza Collective from the early start was really like greatly made. And you know, like from the beginnings, you had like well-designed artworks. You had this unique two-color design. Everything was like simple illustrations. All your merchandise was quite impressive and easy to notice. So can you tell me how it all started? I mean, you had both musical experience and experience as a graphic designer before Dubioza Collective got together in 2003. So how your previous experiences influenced your work with Dubioza Collective?
Yeah, I had a luck to work with good clients, with festivals, with art festivals, with small independent labels here in Sarajevo, jazz festival, for example, Sarajevo Winter Festival, for example. And all these clients were not very typical. So all these experiences were not very, let's sell products or let's sell tickets by any cost, but we had a lot of freedom to express ourselves. So when Dubioza became my client, obviously I became client for myself. So this allowed me to have this ongoing client designer experience, which is probably a privilege, because design developed through the years, and from this basic idea, which probably came from very DIY approach, let's do something and make a logo that can be easily screen printed and easily replicated in different merchandise and other stuff. It kind of developed into what today can be, you know, NFT system or whatever else music industry can go to in this moment. So I don't think there is too many, at least in the region, these design band relationships that last for 20 years, as long as Dubioza is going. So it's kind of interesting for me how to reinvent design and keep the branding as consistent as possible.
Yeah. What were let's say, what were like the major influences to the changes you introduced to Dubioza Collective design throughout the years? For example, what comes to mind to me, you started as like a smaller band, playing smaller venues, and then you grow up, you started to play on like bigger stages. So did you change the approach? Did you simplify the things? Did you make like, you know, like your logos, your T-shirts? You can really easily notice them. You can spot a person that wears Dubioza Collective T-shirt from like 100 meters, and then you yourself, guys, when you are playing on a stage, you are all dressed like in unique jerseys or T-shirts or costumes that you had before. So when you were moving to like bigger stages, have you ever thought about like, all right, we need to do something with our stage presence, with our like jerseys, let's make them simple so we can be noticed from like 100 meters from behind the front of house? What were like the major influences to your work with the band, and how the progress of the band changed the way the band looked?
It also came organically. It was not like planned from the first day. It took several years before we came out of this stage presence that we have now, and it derived from this two-color scheme that band was branded from the beginning. And it is, I guess, when we talked about it, we also were thinking about the thing that you just mentioned. It's coming from this DIY perspective, in which band was playing smaller stages and smaller festivals with very modest lighting and stage designs. So if you were wearing just regular black, dark outfits that most of the rock bands are wearing, then you just blend in the background and nobody noticed. So we said, okay, let's do the most ridiculous color that we can think of, and it was obviously yellow. So it kind of out of there came the jerseys that we're wearing now. So it is a philosophy that Mark Bolan from T-Rex approached. He said, okay, let's find the shiniest possible outfit that I can make, and in that way, in the 70s, obviously with 2 lights on stage, you would be in the dark most of the time, but he was shining like a disco ball, so it made his presence bigger than life. So we just approach the same problems like 40 years later, and this is something that I think worked in the end, because for next 15 years or so that we are wearing different variations of these black and yellow jerseys, the band is quite recognizable on stage.
And do you feel pressure to you have this like really small space that you are moving around, like 2 colors, simple graphics? I guess you always feel pressure to reinvent yourself. Is it a challenge to always reinvent the design, to make a new artwork, new record cover inside that like limited scheme that you have?
It is, but in the end, it is this basic logo that came out in the first years. It kind of became something, a system of itself. So you could just make variations and do whatever you want with the same base. And this is something that it entertains me over the years, and it also makes a zillion of different merchandise variations or cover designs possible through the years, because it's somehow evolved. And this pressure that really says that, okay, let's stay true to the original design, makes you think a bit harder about what to do. And then I don't know, we always thought about, okay, it's recognizable, it's good design, blah blah blah. Graphic designers can tap you a lot on the backs and say your design is good. But then I think the final and for me most important recognition came from the people who listened to band and who decided over the years to make tattoos with this design. And it's like, now in this moment there's like hundreds, and I collect them quite as much as I can, because it's good to see your design on somebody's skin there forever. And yeah, I think that is the best recognition you can get.
All right, just another brief question before we switch to Tina. I know you for like a long time, and I know in your like early days, in early 90s, you were a heavy metal guy, having long hair, playing heavy metal music. And did that influence, because we all know like heavy metal bands, they have like their icons, their logos. Dubioza Collective music is different, but the idea behind it is pretty much the same. There's always like the same logo, same mascot repeating in like different positions.
Yeah,
that looks like the same kind of recognition to me, you know.
I guess we grew up with this punk rock fanzine, do-it-yourself scene, and all these imageries kind of stayed there. And then probably other graphic designers that influenced us, and all these record covers that we looked over the years, it all kind of come together. I mean, you can find Peter Saville there, or you can find some cutout design from yeah, it is all there, and I guess it's always a derivative of all your experiences before. And for me, what Dubiosa's branding is different from others is that I'm doing it from inside, and I'm very tough client to myself, and that means a lot of time is spent into
your
this.
own worst client.
Yeah, always.
All right, thank you. Now here we have Tina Gorovska, who is representing the Youth Cultural Center, MKC. She is the in-house designer that spent her years here working, doing the posters,
The past 5 or 6 years.
5 or 6 years, thanks. She's working on posters, she's working on catalogs, visual identities. MKC has like a wide variety of programs. You have like theater festivals, you have a film festival, you have different concerts, music festivals. So can you tell me about your experience, how it looks to rep and how it looks to present one venue to make kind of certain design that will represent you and that will be recognizable widely in public, but still to keep the identity of the house and to present the events properly. So you will not just identify the events with your house, but you need to represent the band and their ideas and aesthetics as well.
Of course, like an in-house designer in MKC Skopje, I can't say that I'm the almighty creator of the visual identity card of MKC, because it's not so simple. Like MKC, as you said, has a really wide diversity program, and let's say not half, but part of the program of the events are organized by the program department of MKC. So in that part, I can say that I have control over the aesthetics or the sensibility of the visual identity, but there is also part which is like events, let's say, which are coming from outside promoters who are using the object as a location, the infrastructure, the building. And of course, they came with their program, and they came with the whole all-inclusive package of which also includes the design. In that part, I don't have the control. And that also is like a small micro part of the whole puzzle, which we can say is the grand visual identity of MKC Skopje. So yeah, I'm doing like every day different design. I'm doing design for the planetarium, which is also part of MKC. I'm doing design for the Kids Creative Center. I'm doing designs for concerts, for the theater festival. Also, like the city cinema is run by MKC, so that's the uncreative part of my work, where I do it just like mechanically or technically. I try to make Cyrillic transcription of the titles of the blockbusters that have film projection in the cinema. So that, yeah, it's not so simple.
Okay, then let's pick one thing and let's focus to music.
That's my favorite part. When Garga, like the music editor, manager of MKC, will come to me for with demands to make a poster for some concerts, I'm like opening a champagne.
All right.
Definitely, because that's my favorite part. I come from that scene.
You have a music background?
Yeah.
Okay, so I would like to hear about your experiences and your challenges of working on a graphic design for the concerts that MKC has. Can you tell me more about like what inspires you? What do you think it's important if you have an artist, especially if you have like an unknown artist that you need to present to the local audience? How what are the challenges that you are facing with how to present the unknown, how to sell the band, how to get like the wider audience for the band in order to sell the tickets for the event?
Well, that's, I don't know about your experience, but that's the worst thing for me when the promoter would, of course, that's the point, we should sell tickets, but that economical or financial pressure, it's pretty hard for me. So I remember, like, before I made the poster for the Popadić concert, Grga came to me and he said to me, let's make a design and sell tickets. And I was like completely blocked. Of course, that's the point, but we are like, as graphic designers, we are like double agents. We want to make art, but that art has to have also like economic potential, or just to, yeah, that's the
logo needs to be bigger.
The logo needs to be bigger, definitely. And I'm the worst applicator of logos. I always make mistake because the part like you finish the design, you set up the typography, the images, and when I come to the logo part, just to make an order with the logos, that somehow reminds me that we have, that's the field where we don't have freedom, because the logo is fixed. You know, you can't change the logo. You can change everything, but you can't change the logo. So for me, that's like really
Have you ever tried to change? Have you ever suggested?
Yeah, I made a lot of mistakes.
I did a record cover like a few months ago.
I flipped it upside down, definitely. I didn't notice it. I put it like on print.
I did a record cover a few months ago for one band from Croatia, released by a label from Croatia, and the logo and the aesthetics of cover were completely opposite out of each other. So I've asked the label guy, is it fine for you to design a new logo just for this release that will really fit the style of band and the visual? And he was like, yeah, okay, why not? And I've used the argument, there's a great American designer called Art Chantry, and in the 90s he was working for the record label called Estrus. They were mainly releasing garage rock records, and for each and every release he was designing a new Estrus logo. So there were like 50 or 60 logos that he designed for each and new release. And tell me another thing.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to continue with the design, like for the concerts. I always tried. That's my starting point. I tried to capture the atmosphere of the band, to illustrate or to visualize the ambient, the sensibility of the band, of the music.
How much you are influenced by the music? I mean, for example, you have a task to do a poster for the band from, I don't know, there's a band from, Jozef has a band, and he's coming to play to Skopje. Will you spend some time listening to music? Will you listen to records? Will you try to get like an inspiration from the music? Will you try to be like the third leg of the music? You know, will you get, what's your working process in order to present band like the best way possible?
Yeah, of course, that's my starting point, but it's not always successful, because sometimes, I don't know about your experience, but sometimes I feel that I'm a slave and I'm loyal to my own style, which in many cases it's not fitting, it's not correlated with the style of the band. So yeah, that's a challenge that we all as graphic designers have to make, just to visualize their style.
Yeah. And tell me another thing. I'm quite well familiar with MKC and design that MKC had for the materials. So I think with you being on a board of like graphic designer in MKC, you have changed the visual approach of MKC, and you introduced like your own newer, different style to design in Skopje. So do you have any kind of like feedback from the local audience or from the local musicians? Are you in touch? Do you like ever get suggestions?
Compliments for the designs?
Do you get any kind of feedback for your work? And does that feedback brings like the new processes in your creative work? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. Sometimes I get feedback, but it's also nice when you get feedback from the audience. When I will see, that's the best moment, when I will see that the poster from the concert is gone from the building. Maybe it doesn't mean that it is compliment for my work as a designer, but maybe maybe they had a good time on the concert. But anyway, it will be part of their memory.
But it made a reaction. Or somebody was angry and teared down, or somebody will
I didn't
keep it
read
in his...
I have selective, you know.
Or somebody will keep it in his room forever.
Yeah.
All right. And just another question before we switch to Jozef with the next set of questions. Before, like 10 or 20 years ago, we had like 2 or 3 main communication channels. People were advertising their events by posters out there on the street and by billboards or using like TV commercials. And there was no like direct communication. You would expose your programs, your events to the public, and you hoped that they will catch by watching like a good poster or a good billboard or a good TV commercial, and you hope that the audience will come. Nowadays we are we are communicating with our own audiences more than ever and more directly, and we can feel the pulse of the audience. You can track the visitors by the tools on social networks. So what has changed in these like 5 or 6 years since you are in MKC in your promotional approach towards audience? What's new? Are you introducing some like new techniques, the way you communicate? What's changed?
Yeah, well, like in the last 2 years, we started to do promotional video. And I consider that as the next step. We are practically animating our posters or our visual identity in a short video. So we do like a promo video for the exhibitions. It is like a short video ID card of the painters that have exhibitions in the gallery. We started doing that also for the concerts, short promo video. And somehow we upgraded the fixed image and the fixed, let's say, graphic design in some short animated video.
And the reaction?
Well, the reaction of the artists that we are presenting is really good. Because in general, I think in Macedonia we have a problem of video archive. Vedran's work, nice work, man. And the reaction is really good.
Okay, thank you very much. Jozef, it's your turn now. So you are the main person behind Pohoda visuals from now on, right?
Yes.
And can you tell me, so Pohoda has like a 20 plus years history, if I'm right?
Last year it was 25 anniversary.
And it's, I think, like 30,000 people festival. Yeah. So that's totally different thing. We spoke about the band, we spoke about the venue that has to sell like 300 or 1,000 tickets. You are in position to create the design and visual and all the communication materials for the event that needs to reach like 30,000 people. And Pohoda also has like a long history and a long history of graphic design. And as both as festival was growing, graphic design of Pohoda materials was changing, improving, then getting like better, more modern. Can you tell me what you had as like the history that was behind you, and what are you going to change, and what are you going to offer to Pohoda to 2023 edition?
Yeah, so like right now, currently, and I hope maybe here in my stay I will finish the identity because next week it should go out. So it's like still in the oven, and the oven is heating, you know, on this like 280 degrees, and like I try always to, you know, like I was thinking about this like festival identity. Like we also said that other like bands, maybe they have one logo for their entire lifetime. Maybe they will have like hundreds of them. But also in festival, like since it has this kind of like a repetition, like it will be always one like the next year and the next year. And like what is the, you know, like main thing you want to kind of like innovate on? Like it needs to be something which is like culturally like this zeitgeist, you know. Like you want to reflect something which is like you don't want to be, or I don't want to be like symbolic too much. For example, like this kind of like very generic music symbols. But I think you rather want to like snap something from reality you are living right now and what you are looking at, and then like incorporate it into the visuals. But in like in festival, like last year, the identity was it was like based upon these like street signs, you know, these like Asian places with this one brush script fonts, or there's like taxi drivers companies, and it has more of that kind of like kitschy street and like this lowbrow aesthetics. But we also like wanted to make it look like very current. So that is always like this general idea. Like it can be a lot of things, but it needs to be like in this like day and age.
Do you face like your own limitations in terms of, all right, you can do a super modern design, you can make like great typography, you can do like great elements or something. Do you feel kind of your own pressure because still you have your like artistic wishes, but then again, you know, like the poster or the billboard has to be somewhere, or it has to be out there on the digital networks, and people need to read the information. It needs to be accessible to people. Do you think about, and do you communicate with the festival direction about the way you will present the festival, and what will be the idea behind the visuals?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like we are consulting it on the process, and it's like you still don't know when you are like making the identity in the start. You still don't know all of the applications, you know, because if you like we don't have so much time, because we have also in Pohoda a lot of other events during the year. And then there are still some people asking me like, what are you doing whole year if there is like one design and you can just use it? So that's like this funny question. And so it's like it's more of a like, here is a thing and that will be a new design. It's more like this kind of artistic approach, I would say. But also, you know, as a designer, and if you are experienced, you are like the worst boss. Like you want to be like critical. And sometimes even like in the creative process, you kind of sometimes maybe want against yourself, like what will be the thing that you would never use? So maybe if you use it, then it make more spice in the design. So sometimes you need to be kind of like in this very meta universe that like you need to have a critique from different angle. But I also like consult with other friends, you know, like if it's like what they think about it. But I think it's better to have like this whole package and then to kind of like present it, because a lot of the people and I came across, and sometimes I kind of like burn myself on it, that sometimes if some visual elements aren't very like laid down in like real situations, some people can have like a lot of questions and they cannot imagine it. I mean, it's like, I know that I don't blame them, like they maybe cannot imagine how it
Do you have tactics to get them to trust you?
Well, like I think that the visuals are the best like proof, because like sometimes when you want to like you know, like it's better to see it one time than hear it like tons of times. And yeah, and also we are discussing graphic design, and then I was also realized that it would be nice to show some pictures because it's much more, you know, like much more fun. But I think the best is to use this like real-time situation, like doing some mock-ups. Like I hate mock-ups, but I need to do them because it will kind of like help me in the like selling the design.
Mm-hmm. And doing a festival, especially larger festivals, is a tricky thing because you attract many people, and many people means like many opinions, especially on digital networks. And then there you have a thing that you need to introduce your new design. And people will always be happy with something that was there before. Do you ever get like a backlash from the festival community? Like, do they accept the improvements that you are offering? I mean, and generally, like the situation in Slovakia regarding the visuals. Are people opened to new stuff, to the visuals, your audience in generally? Are they ready to accept new stuff? Are they like sticking to something old because the old is deep in their memories and brings like the good memories back?
Well, you know, there is these like different audiences or bubbles, and like the smallest bubble is the most accepting because these are like my friends or this graphic design community. They will praise it the most. And then there is the biggest bubble or this audience, you know, like general visitors of festivals. They don't usually like hate it, but they also don't kind of like tell you, oh, this is the best design like from like the other years. So it's like sometimes you are like like a lone wolf in the in this industry, but like you need it's kind of, it will say maybe like egoistic, but you need to really trust your like guts and to not really care maybe about the comments. And like last month we have a new position for PR manager, and I did the post, and like on some like posts on Facebook, some person told that you should also like look for a new graphic designer.
Vedran, are you here? I think you're here in like the best position because you have a band and you have your loyal and dedicated fans, and your fans are tattooing your artwork and they're buying, I don't know the numbers, but I guess they're buying many shirts or many tote bags or whatever you have to sell. What is the new stuff that you have to offer to your audiences? I mean, the world is changing rapidly, and the ways of communication and the social networks and the merchandise and everything is changing drastically faster than ever. What's there? I mean, I know that you always like follow the new trends. You're always introducing a band on new social networks. What is like the future, and what are the new challenges that you would like to introduce and put the band into, like the new territories regarding like the design and the visuals? And where do you find like where do you see new stuff that will happen with the band visually?
It is very hard to predict, but
it's easier for me to ask than to give answers.
It's always like that. But I think that next thing that was almost there, but then with this crypto industry collapse that happened in this May, it kind of slowed down. But I think the NFTs are one of the fields in which bands and even festivals, even the entire music industry can thrive in this moment, because it's not just about selling digital images for ridiculous amounts of money, but it's also selling tickets, experiences, community. All these stuff can intertwine in this concept. I showed a part of my experiment with how a logo can evolve into zillions of different combinations in NFT system, and I made like hundreds of different variations of logo in a software that can generate tens of thousands of unique characters with different traits that can be, you know, assigned as rare or common or legendary or something. So you can, you know, you can do stuff. Not that just that you have to sell it, but there's something that really is worth
You're ready
exploring.
for all markets, for the Arabian market, for South American market. You've covered everything.
Yeah, it's just stereotype tropes. We play with stereotypes a lot, so then why not use it as a joke in this context as well? But I think this is something that can be the next thing that we will have to explore.
Yeah.
And we are ready.
Do you think you as a graphic designer and your band are like in the best times or most challenging times nowadays? Before, as I spoke with Jozef before, you have these expectations of the audience that they always want something where they feel familiar. But nowadays we are on the plot where basically everything is possible and you can use everything for your band. You can use all the platforms to present your band. And even before, there was always a separation. There is something now and everything that happened before that's out. We had vinyl records in the 80s, and then early 90s CD was widely introduced and vinyls were out of fashion. Early 2000s, CDs were getting out of fashion. There was like digital. Nowadays, we have the return of vinyl. We have CDs selling. We have the expansion of digital networks. People are selling tapes. We are using many different channels to promote music. Do you think this is actually the best time and the best moment for you as a graphic designer?
That's probably most interesting part, but it's also a curse as much as a blessing, because we do everything ourselves, which translates to I do all the stuff that band needs, and that amount of work expands exponentially with every new social network there is. You have to adopt design, you have to adopt all the things that goes into networks. If you multiply it by 5, for example, that now are active for a band, then it kind of piles up, and it's kind of becomes very time consuming, and it never changes. It will kind of just grow. Now Twitter is dying, and everybody's looking to, I don't know, Tribal or Mastodon, and then we sit and wait what's gonna mean for a
Where to
for a
spend
band,
your
for music
time.
industry. Yes, something like that, and where to create the band's presence, because we started early with I think every existing networks. We still have MySpace profile up and running, and Twitter, for example. We started at the beginning. We are one of the biggest bands in Balkans with maybe 100,000 followers, and it's kind of hard to let that stuff go. Okay, Twitter is dying. Oh, 100,000 people platform. Let's forget about it. It's not like that. We will have to keep service it until it officially dies, and we, in the same time, we will have to move with the new ones and try to adapt. And same goes with other networks. I don't know, TikTok. I don't understand it, but band needs to have it if you have to approach the younger demographics that are using that platform. And it's not just about let's change the aspect of the picture or the video. It's about entire philosophy that is behind that, and I think that's topic for some other panels.
Yeah, all right, thank you. While we speak about, yes.
It's like, as a graphical designers, it's interesting time because of the whole development of this, let's say, fast food nation filters on Instagram, artificial intelligence, design generator that actually generates on one click.
That was my question.
The design. Sorry for stealing your question. And like, it seems that we are like, that everybody today every kid with a smartphone can be a graphical designer, because like to post a story, you have already pattern, you have already typography. So I have a feeling that today everybody is a designer, but it's not so simple, you know.
That's the question that repeats all the time. Do we need graphic designers? Because you have all the different platforms, you have free stock libraries with photos. So basically, you can do everything by yourself, even without having like the major knowledge or experience about the graphic design. So how do you see your position? Do you see yourself as like a moderator that will, out of all the opportunities that you have out there on the market, you with your experience, are you like a moderator who tries to collect best out of all opportunities out there in order to present the work that MKC is doing in Skopje?
Of course, it's not like with all this development of the shortcut filters and everything, it's not so simple, you know. You can have the feeling that everybody can do the design, but there is always this talent element that will be needed. Like the plane also, it's not running only by autopilot. You need a human figure on the end. So it can't, the talent, the skills, the performances can be replaced by these artificial filters that we all have on our phones. But it's definitely an interesting time to live in. We are not a race of that will be extincted or in crisis there, because maybe this expansion of easygoing graphical design will do us a favor. It will, let's say, reduce the quantity, it will increase the quality of good designers.
Jozef?
So I think like it's interesting because on one hand you have right now this generative like fantasy art. There's like some engines that can generate like through some just descriptions and some photos like super crazy high fidelity art. But then you also it generates, you know, like I saw this like movie posters, and there was I think like Transformer poster, and there was like this very sad like a trash truck, and it was on like on the parking lot, and it looked totally ridiculous, like nobody will use it, but it was like so funny. Like sometimes maybe this AI can generate something, you know, like it's like a joke, you know, for these like developers a little bit. But I think it's like through the Instagram and for these like social networks, it's like the people are starting to be like curators, you know, of their collections. They are creating a lot more stuff, and like there is this like designer in, I think, in a lot more people. But if you like in this kind of like professional, like you need to be maybe like more critical. You need to have some like background, and also like this. You know, like this reinventing yourself or just asking a lot more questions. And yeah, but I'm like, I like this like generative stuff, and I would be really like thankful if there would be like more tools, you know, for designers, because we're also speaking about the music, and in music you have I don't know, maybe like 10 software programs which are like different, and you have like thousands of normal instruments. And every developer, or you know, this like the companies, they try to innovate, but in our field it's actually like super archaic. You know, like we are using InDesign, which has you know, the same tools that maybe like 30 years ago. So that's actually like I'm hoping for this change in the industry, because it's yeah, I'm like, you know, like everybody knows these crashes when you didn't save it and then it crashed and then you're like, fuck.
And as the music festivals are like really the wide platforms, you communicate on many different levels, many different channels, platforms, whatever. What are the best new challenges or new improvements in graphic design that you are facing with while trying to spread the visual message about the festival?
Well, I think with like with visuals, it's like on social media. Actually, the visuals should be more simple, and there is this kind of like motion element, which is really nice. Like it's working, and I also wanted to try like more of that. But like you need to kind of like think in the. I think on social media, if you want to make something interesting, it, you know, like the best right now content is this like TikTok reels, which is just like snap your mind the most. But like we are also not like creative agency, you know, so it needs to be still in this kind of like festival like circle. And like I think like I would say that motion design is like, and there is also like some filters you can use, like AR filters and this type of stuff. But usually there is no time for like doing that throughout the year, but we will see. And also like on the website, you can do some funny stuff as well. For example, like drawing or, you know, something that the user can generate something. But that's also, I think like the website are good for lineup, and but maybe the most fun, you know, are on these venues as like live. So.
We have this whole like digital specter of promotion that we are talking about. How it goes with physical media, with posters, with merchandise, T-shirts. What's there for Pohoda audience to offer? I guess you sell tote bags. I guess you sell merchandise. You want something so people can get it and have like a memory that they've been to festival.
Yeah, actually, like last year we did a really cool thing. It was the upcycled merch from one of like second hands chain. They supplied this kind of like vintage jackets, the jeans jackets, and some shirts. And we had this like collaboration with one of our like pop stars. He died like 2 years ago, Mikiš Birka. And we did kind of like the homage to his songs. So there will be like the upcycled merch was sewed with like patches and some like graphics, and every piece was different, and that was really cool because normally you have like 5 or 10 designs and they are like the same, but that more kind of like individual process, and it was also more like ecological. That was nice. And I think also like I don't know, like I feel like after Corona people are not into buying so much clothes anymore, because there is a lot of this like greenwashing and you know, the fast fashion. So we are also thinking right now, like how should we improve on that? You know, like how we can use some materials from last year that, for example, like some banners that like you obviously cannot use because there is like these graphics or some dates, some information that doesn't apply on the next year. And we are also trying to kind of like think of like how can we use this material, because it's like waste and like it's not very recyclable, which is
just print 3 instead of 2. So you'll have 2023.
Yeah, just like yeah, like the range of number, and they will be like sticking the next number. Yeah. So this is like with merch. I think like I was speaking with Mišo Kaščák, the head of Pohoda, like last week about it, like what we should do with merch, because it is in decline, and there is a lot of, let's say, maybe like waste or. Like maybe there are better ways to reinvent the merch, you know, because people are what they're looking for, what they are getting, like they're looking for shirts and they're also expect, but maybe if you introduce some other types of, maybe also like you said, the NFTs, they are also some kind of like fun merch or these things.
All right, we are approaching closely to the end of our slot, so I'm not into like giving advices to anyone because I think each thing we do and each design, each band, everything is unique. So instead of like giving an advice, I would like to have like your final word or what were your best 1 or 2 minute experiences that you have learned while working as a graphic designers for a music industry. Vedran?
Oof, you keep asking difficult questions. the thing is that I think the best thing in this music industry graphic design relationship is if you have understanding client, even if you yourself as a client. And we worked with Edo Zupčević from Gramophone record label in Sarajevo, and he's very special guy, and he always said do whatever you want, whatever you like, but just don't repeat this Peter Saville anecdote with Factory Records where he produced a New Order sleeve that costed
Blue Monday. That
cost like half a pound. Yeah, and it cost half pound more than the record itself. So every time they sell a record, they lost amount of money that is in the end, because it was best-selling record, it was a big amount of money. So he just said, don't do that, please. And everything else is not off limits. So only that. And
all right.
I think this is the best thing to have if you have understanding person on the other side.
Thanks. Tina?
What was the question again? What was the best experience?
Yeah. What have you learned from graphic design in the last 5 years? What was your best experience?
First of all, this best makes me nervous and gives the pressure. I don't believe in best experiences. And the first thing that comes to my mind on this topic is not my experience with the graphical design. I will mention the last edition of Zdravo Mladi Festival, if you remember the design. Yes. So it was not my piece of art, it was a piece of art of a super hyper talented guy who became contrary to the main thesis of this panel that we're the invisible. We had a case for the first time that the designer was the superstar of the festival. Yeah. Everybody, even though the program, all the bands were really good that played on the festival, everybody was speaking about the design. Mm-hmm. So that was pretty nice position, like as a graphical designer to see that. But of course that didn't sold more tickets, but it presented his art in the place or in a position where it should be.
All right, thanks. Jozef, your final words before Login kicks us out.
So the best experience is when I design a poster and Michal wouldn't ask if I can make the logo bigger. But I think like always this creative process is nice when you are heading to this kind of like point when you have this eureka moment that it starts to click. But also like last month we did a Slovenská tepláreň project and it was like super collaborative. We had like 20 concerts in 2 weeks and like the whole Slovakia was doing the concert for support of LGBT community, and we also made these press kits of the posters. We did some flags, so it was also like this activist. And when you can see that people are, you know, if it's for like a good cause that can actually like change something, and you see these like graphics on the events, and there is these powerful messages. Like I think that you feel good about it in the end. So.
Okay, thank you. I know I was not messy this time. I don't know if I've asked the right questions. I hope I was not mess, but
can I say my experience?
Yes.
So my experience with the graphic designer is the worst. So I hope all of you can agree with me. They always have delays. We always wait them. But the good things is that I find a way through the graphic designer how to make login bigger. So Vedran, please help me. That's my maximum. I say bigger. Yes, bigger,
This is
bigger,
okay?
bigger. Thank you very much. Thanks for this panel. And join us for lunch and for the next panels after that. Thank you very much.
Veca, hvala.
No problem, hvala tebi.